Yo, so the useless boss finally got around to finishing the set. What on earth could have possibly motivated the boss into finishing the set, you ask? Oh, the new Metroid game. Good news, I assume.
No! No!
Oh, I see. It's gonna be one of those videos, huh? As much as I'd love to get mushy and gushy and nostalgic about Metroid, we've waited 15 years for this game. What I'm here to do is to tell you you guys have misplaced hope in this next game. I find it pretty suspicious that Nintendo, a company that usually loves to remind you how great the good old games were, is pretty quiet about a certain title in the franchise that didn't go over too well with us Metroid fans and not Metroid fans alike, strangely enough. That's right, we're talking about Other M and how history seems to be repeating itself with more hype than the previous game. Why are you people so filled with hope? Did you forget?
Man, did something like that happen now?
Blind Nintendards would say the following.
If something like that happened again, I would hold fast to that glimmer of hope and try for redemption. That's who I am.
Best just forget about it. I'm out.
Alright, Nintendo clowns, the TLDR is simple. Other M is a dead horse that has been beaten to the ground, so we're going to keep all references to it short and to the point. Once upon a time, Nintendo partners with a third-party company, with Sakamoto directing the entire scene. He makes a game, hyping the other company and his brilliant story writing. People get pissed off because it violates continuity, and the gameplay wasn't worth it, and there were retcons everywhere. Does this story sound familiar? Yes, it should, because that was literally Other M. So let's begin with the continuity era, starting with Crimes Against Fusion, which happens to be my second favorite Metroid game. So let me get this straight. You have a game that takes place between Super Metroid and Fusion, and then the plot twist of Other M is the Federation betrays Samus because they are making space clone babies. Even though that was the exact plot twist for Fusion, deadlifted from the other game with no regards to continuity. Sakamoto has no creativity, so he just places the shit where he wants it to be.
But why?
Would Samus team up with the Federation after the events of Other M if they've already done betrayed her? It's almost as if a prequel was written after the sequel, and somebody just forgot that a plot twist can't be the same thing twice without making Samus look like a retard.
Then again, none of this makes sense.
Oh, but it does when you understand. Sakamoto is creatively bankrupt and will cannibalize the entire franchise on a whim. And I will not let it slide.
We have to get past this.
No. You will all be judged.
Anyways, in the beginning, the 4 OG Metroid games existed in coherent harmony. At worst, one could ask, how did Kraid Ridley and Mother Brain undie? But, small price to pay for a perfect game. Until Zero Mission, while a game I enjoyed, also retcons Fusion, the game made prior, that established Samus' suit wasn't just external armor, but so one with her that it had to be carved out of her after her crash in Fusion. But a similar crash in Zero Mission causes her to need to go down and get a new Chozo suit from her local ruins. Something as simple as Samus needing to recover lost energy from a refill station would have sufficed. Simplicity isn't Sakamoto's forte, so the would it really be coolism was rewarded in this instance. Combine this with the gotta have Ridley moments. Current canon dictates you killed him in Zero Mission and his full body heart support. His half cyborg in Samus Returns shows up just in time to make it the superest. Full meatbag Ridley rises again as Furby Ridley digivolves to Gaines Ridley for the boss fight with the single worst cutscene in the franchise. But what goes unsaid is this was ripped straight from the pages of the Metroid manga.
You got no stop!
So, Sakamoto, if anyone's gonna sissify Samus, it's gonna be us, the fans. Lastly, on past retcons, I will gripe on about Aeon. I hate it. A 10 power-up system for nothing, casually altering all Metroid history, leading us to Dread itself. With a little history lesson and joke quote out of the way, yes, onward to the feature presentation of this show, my observation of Dread's mechanics and level design, as well as my educated guess on how it all plays out. It is my belief the reason Sakamoto chose Little O Mercury Studios is because he wanted absolute control over this project. Team Ninja was too smart, talking him out of retarded mechanics, but lacking the power to change the stories. Mercury is no such studio, with an impressive fail record. This will let us see the first new title that Sakamoto has 100% control over. So the key thesis of this video is that the innovation that Sakamoto seek is not for superior gameplay, but rather how to turn gameplay into cutscenes. His obsessive control extends to something as simple as a ladder. Instead of normal ladders like in Fusion, we get laser dum-dum ladders to ensure that everyone follows the same path without fail. One could say, that's great Metroid design. If you cannot get lost, that is simply the antithesis of Metroid's soul. Figuring out the rules and remembering special things is the allure of exploration. Take that away, what else is there? Boss fights, you say? This game will lack here as well. As much as I like Predator Lizard's design over here, the fact an invisible boss has a glowing weak spot when invisible is lower design trash than Zelda's worst idea. The sign play mechanics jankiness shows most here where somehow Journo misses prompt to slide, which is all you can do or else it just keeps hitting you. Would it stop looping its attack on this railed boss fight? Hoshi, you say. Don't deny us the Emmys. They're this game's special draw. Those aren't scary in mechanics or aesthetic either. I have fought galaxy brain T-Rexes, space dragons, actual kaiju myself at my best, and whatever nightmare is, I don't fear DARPA-looking robots, especially when instead of a 1v1 grid fight, I get magic bullet times 7? Look at this. In spite the alleged advanced, visually aided stealth and steak play, this Emmy looks right at Samus, does nothing, and just leaves. What's wrong here? Combine this with getting invisibility early shows the care isn't in the polished mechanics of the Emmy. All these flaws from showing their best foot, and now I'm at the part that you most likely were most looking forward to. The story. If digging up other M from the suppressed memory boxes in your mind didn't help, I'll show you the contradictions and retcons, starting with the conflicting mechanics fighting against its own playstyle. All your on-the-rails achievements to be a badass, mindlessly swatting foes around, does not sell me on the times when I should just run away from Emmy. especially when game journos ham it up by just shooting them for dramatic footage instead of running. Screw the rules, I have sequence breaking, yo! The presence of switch puzzles tells me this game will allow little of that. Not without the glitch exploits that are rampant in Samus Return's speed runs. While designed in Super Zero and even Fusion designed for this, non-R&D titles are longer. Trust me, I gathered more other M footage than I care to admit.
I had here is when you this, I had round the answer by the.
Since the story beats are kept under tight wraps, the following is my educated guess based upon his established writing tendencies. So, rhetorical question, why does the Fed need Samus to give them a hatchling to study or underestimate the X if they have a Chozo on call? How did Samus lose her powers again, since she's now part X? This soft, girly, gender-bent prime armor is an insult to her tank-on-legs manly glory. I don't need armor to remind me of her gender. The thematic shenanigans on display make me confident this game's plot will once again draw from the official manga's well, where the Chozo you're to assume traitor had his reasons is secretly best daddy who will help you when being the galaxy's lone savior fails, all to make the problem of this long-term storytelling go away. Or something like that. Either way, Sakamoto will have less constraints to ground him, though to be honest, I did like Anthony and Adam, in spite them being in horrid stories. Sakamoto, you really just need your own IP. Surely that Nintendo status could get you that. Just please stop making my Metroid games Metal Gear, please. So don't leave this video in despair, Metroidlings. For in case your poor souls have forgotten, almost all the best indies are all our genre, Metroidvanias as far as the eye can see. So off the hype train before it takes you off to big sad cliffsides. Go to the game makers who get and love the things we love, as a game made with love is better than a smooth-brained game that lacks the heart of R&D 2. I'm not asking for a boycott or anything, but this Nintendo using an undead franchise's nostalgia telling you to buy a potentially mediocre game without thinking, or else no more Metroids, just hurts to see. I want to be wrong, so wait with me. Let's see if it's worthy. If it is, I'll get a girlfriend, just so her boyfriend can get me a Switch. Either way, see you next mission.